WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21.
Good evening, I'm Krystle Rich, and this is WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21. Topping our news tonight, at least 50 people are dead and dozens more are injured after a mass shooting at a gay bar in Orlando. Investigators are still at the scene trying to piece together exactly what happened. Friends and family members of many of the victims spent their day trying to figure out if their loved ones are dead or alive. Craig Boswell has more. Mateen was on the FBI's radar. He was interviewed by an agent in 2013 after he apparently made inflammatory comments to co-workers. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan released a statement on the shooting, saying, "The First Lady and I are shocked and saddened by this senseless violence this morning at a nightclub in Orlando. I have reached out to Florida Governor Rick Scott to express our support during this time. The state of Maryland is ready and willing to provide any assistance needed." Tonight, Camp Rehoboth held a vigil to show support for the victims and their families in Orlando earlier this evening. In other news, a Dover woman is behind bars after a stabbing last night. Police say this woman, Nanika Perkins Hunt, began arguing with two women in the parking lot of the Adler Park apartments. Police say Perkins Hunt pulled out a steak knife and stabbed one of the women in the torso. The victim was treated for her injuries. Perkins Hunt was arrested and charged with second-degree assault after this stabbing in Dover. In Sussex County, two men are facing drug and gun charges after a traffic stop. Police arrested Dominique Hall and a 29-year-old man whose name has not been released yet. Troopers stopped the car for speeding Friday night in Seaford. During the stop, they found more than 8 grams of marijuana in the driver's pocket and a gun, and more than $14,000 in suspected drug money in the car. The driver was charged with possession of marijuana and speeding. Hall was charged with carrying a concealed deadly weapon in Seaford. Well, it was a very hot day here on Delmarva. Taking a live look into Ocean City this afternoon, still looking like a warm night, but things should cool down heading into the work week. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. Dan, how are things looking? In Kentucky, authorities are looking for a 22-year-old man wanted in the shooting of a Louisville police officer last night. Louisville's police chief said Officer Kyle Carroll was patrolling and recognized the suspect as someone he had arrested before. After a pursuit by car and then on foot, the officer said Jaquan Crowley shot him in the chest. He's recovering in the hospital and is in stable condition. Police say Crowley is considered armed and dangerous and still on the loose in Kentucky. 5 people were injured, some of them seriously, in a hit and run last night in Vegas. Police say the driver took off plowing into 2 adults and 3 children. Police say some of the injuries are life-threatening. The youngest victim, 6 years old.
Every one of these accidents is different. I mean, in some accidents, the vehicles take the brunt of the damage. In this particular accident, it was a very light contact between the 2 vehicles, but just enough to cause that unstabilized situation, which made that vehicle slide sideways 300 feet down the road and take out some folks that were just standing on the sidewalk minding their own business. So, yeah, it's a difficult situation when this happens, but it happens frequently.
Police arrested a 50-year-old driver about a mile and a half down the road in Vegas. It looks like Brooklyn, New York may just take jurisdiction in the trial of Mexican drug kingpin and escape artist Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. 7 prosecutor officers have indicted Guzman on drug conspiracy. Justice Department officials still aren't commenting on the closely watched decision, but 2 law enforcement officials familiar with the process says it's likely that if transferred from Mexican to U.S. custody, Guzman would be sent to the Eastern District of New York. Guzman has not been extradited yet to the U.S. Brazil is preparing to host this summer's Olympic Games, but fears of catching the Zika virus keep coming up as more people plan their travel there. Brazil's new health minister says there is no reason to postpone the 2016 Olympics, says the risk of catching the virus during the game is, quote, almost zero. A top U.S. health official also says the Summer Olympic Games in Brazil should continue as planned. Still to come here on WBOC News at 10, tonight is a celebration for the stars of the stage. The Tony Awards are underway in New York, but the nominees and show organizers are making changes after today's shooting in Orlando. WBOC News at 10 on Fox 21 continues after this.